imaginable. And that was, they had to compromise on slavery when they were writing the Constitution. They had to accept slavery in our nation in order to create a nation in the first place. And it took a long time to get beyond that. It took a lot of sacrifice. If they could make a compromise like that, can't the folks we have in Washington now make a compromise about not stopping the government or how to get a bill passed or figure out where the spending cuts should be? And let me tell you what, don't expect some candidate for president to solve it for you. You all have to do it. It's who you vote for next year that determines how the country is going to go. So never forget, it is we the people that decide what takes place in Washington, but only if we vote for what we think is right, and if we vote for the balance that we need in this country. And so this is a part of my life, but I've also become a venture capitalist. I'm a partner in a company out in Silicon Valley called Klein & Perkins. They're the ones who gave you Amazon and Google and all kinds of wonderful companies that I invested in. And I'm so pleased to be out there. I want to see what's happening in the information revolution. What's next? What's next after smartphones? Look how that technology has changed the world. The Arab Spring, collapse of the Cold War, Iron Curtain. All of those things were done by the information revolution and the ability of people to see what's going on everywhere in the world. We're all interconnected now in a way that was unthinkable just 15 years ago. And I want to see what's coming next because I was born analog and I'm desperately trying to become digital to see what happens next. Not only to see what happens in the world, but to keep up with my grandchildren. My grandchildren, they were born digital, hardwired digital. And I have a heck of a time bonding with them anymore. The two youngest, the 4 and the 6-year-old, they were going somewhere recently with their aunt, and their Aunt Linda put them in the back of the car and strapped them in. And she started driving away, and they started shouting, Auntie Linda, stop, stop, stop. So she panics, she pulls over, she looks back and says, what's wrong, what's wrong? Auntie Linda, you didn't turn on the GPS, we won't know where we're going. The worst one is a 17-year-old. He has nailed this stuff. And it's reached a point now where I can't even communicate with him. I said to him the other day, Brian, honey, you don't answer my emails anymore. You don't even answer my phone calls anymore. What's wrong? What did I do? Poppy, dear Poppy, you don't understand. We don't email anymore. And we don't use telephones anymore. What do we do? We text, Poppy. We just text. And we tweet. Brian, what's a tweet? Poppy, it comes from Twitter. Why don't they call it a twit? I'm so confused. I don't know nothing. He said, don't worry, we're going to get you a Twitter account. I don't want one. You got to have one. And you got to go on Facebook. No, I don't want to go on Facebook. I'm too old to need a social networking site. 3 days later, he says to me, Poppy, you are on Facebook already? Somebody pretended they were you and created a Facebook. You can't invade. We've got laws in this country. You can't invade my privacy like that. Get the lawyers. We're going to sue this kid. What's his name? Zuckerberg, who started Facebook? We're going to sue him for all he's got, or at least half of what he's got. And so get the lawyers. But Poppy, you already got 33,000 friends. Oh. You go with it, right? And so that's an important part of my life. I'm spending a lot of time with my wife now. I'm on America's Promise and all kinds of youth programs. And I even have a center named after me, my alma mater, the City College of New York. Great school in Harlem where I was born. I got a great public school education from kindergarten all the way through college without paying anything for it. That's what education system should do. Having said that, I wasn't the greatest student they ever saw. In fact, after 4.5 years at CCNY, going on 5, with very mediocre grades, changed my major twice. The administration of the college said, look, he gets straight A's in ROTC. So why don't we take those A's in ROTC, roll it into his grade point average, and see what that looks like, and maybe, we can do something with it. So they did that, and it brought me up to 2.0. And they said, good enough. Give him a degree, give him to the Army, we'll never see him again. Now I'm considered one of the greatest sons the City College of New York has ever had. And the fun I have with this is when I talk to kids in school, I do a lot of that, or audiences such as this, but especially the kids, what I say to them, it isn't where you start in life, it's where you end up, and what you do along the way. Do you believe in yourself, in your country? Do you work hard? Do you study hard? We have to remember, it is not just the schools that we need to fix, and you've been doing a great job of that, but you also know here in Tennessee and in Nashville that it is the schools and teachers that we have to work on, but more importantly, we have to work in the family. If a kid doesn't have people, if a young kid is not read to, is not taught numbers, colors, how to tell time, how to mind adults, when that youngster gets to the second grade, by the time he gets to the second grade, he already knows he's behind, and he starts acting out that he's behind, and he will be in jail when he drops out 14 years from now. We've got to get into the family structure of our country to fix these kids in the first place. So this is all an important part of my life. And people say, well, you know, it's great you have so many different interests, but it can't be the same as being Secretary of State. You got to miss that. Nope. I don't miss anything in life. I want to go through life looking through the front windshield. What's next? Not what's behind me. I don't look in the rearview mirrors or side view mirrors. I can't change anything back there. Always want to be looking ahead. So that's a good attitude to have, but come on, General Powell. There's got to be something you miss about no longer being Secretary of State. Yeah, there's one thing I miss, and I miss it very, very badly. I miss my airplane. I had my own 757. Everywhere I went, it was always waiting for me at the terminal. VIP terminal. And I was in a foreign capital. I'd drink tea with my host, and I'd wait until they rolled a long red carpet out to my plane. When it was time to leave, I would say goodbye, put my teacup down, and I would start down the red carpet, and the band would be playing. And an honor guard would present arms. And I'd walk down to the plane on the red carpet, waving to the adoring crowds that were there. I would get to the steps of my plane. The left foot would hit the bottom step, the right engine would start. I get to the top of the steps, the left engine would start up. I go into my private cabin, sit down, put my seatbelt on, and wait until the steward came in with a Diet Coke and a silver tray. And when he took the Diet Coke off the tray and hid it on the table so that everybody could sort of know that I had my Coke, at that moment, the plane would immediately start to move. It was so cool. They took my plane away, they gave it to Condi, now Hillary's got it. No problem. I got to get back to being normal. Coming out here this morning, I got in one of those little Brazilian airplanes that, you know, it's like an MRI machine. You know, I went down to Reagan National Airport, 6 o'clock this morning, Washington, D.C. I got in the line. Oh, come on, General Powell. Obviously, you're the former secretary. When they see you getting in the line, don't they come and take you around? Au contraire. I can see all the TSA guys whispering, General Powell's here again. We got to make sure that nobody here thinks there are any exceptions. So then they call a guy out who's the honor graduate of TSA One-Name School. And he comes out with a dog, and the dog smells me. And then they take all my things off and run me through the machine, and then he starts to whine. And I get annoyed. But I can't get too annoyed. I helped put the system in place. That was the system we needed. You know, we should be so pleased that we have not had an attack like 9/11 since 9/11.